Welcome to the longest running poker space. I'm the original queen of spaces. You know, the first lady of poker spaces, the original female OG. All true, yes, but really a troll for all of those fools out there. Anyway, I'm your host, Sherry Pluskota. Thanks for joining me this evening. Just a reminder you can find the recordings of my past spaces, including the interviews, on my YouTube channel at Sherry Pluskota 9212. Operation Poker Quilt for Charity is underway. Definitely see my feed for that. A $10 donation will get you one ticket into the raffle drawing, and a $25 donation will get you 5 raffle tickets for that one of a kind autographed poker t shirt quilt, which we will give away at the WSOP on June the 27th. And that's a tax deductible donation, of course. I am so thrilled that Tana Karn is joining us this evening. Tana took his passion for poker and turned it into an apparel line and a mid-major poker tour named Run Good. He is the founder and CEO. Other business adventures include his role as a talent agent with 8131 Media and Juniper Apps Studio. Some might say that Tana's good run in life comes from the elbow grease and long hours. Recent proof of that was taking Run Good to Japan for the first time. And did I mention the Run Good series is a 3-time GPI award winner for Best Mid Major Tour? Well, now I have. Tana has a total live earnings on the Hendon Mob of just over $109,000. His best live cash is over $14,000 for his ninth place finish in the main event of the 2012 Card Player Poker Tour, which was a $1,080 buy-in at Choctaw. Welcome, Tana. How are you? Press that speaker or microphone button in the bottom left corner, sir. Uh-oh. Tana, if you're on a PC, you're going to need to get on your phone if you happen to be on a PC. You need to click the bottom left microphone button. Well, I'm going to continue on until Tana has a moment to figure it out. As we all experience when we get into spaces and we're new, there's lots of moving parts to it. The only thing I can suggest, Tana, if you can hear me, is two things. You can click the mic button in the bottom left corner and turn your microphone on. If that's not working, go out of the space completely, come back in. If you are on a PC, you need to get on your telephone. So just leave and come back on your telephone. So one of those things, let me see if he's trying to message us. Okay. And if you want to DM me, I'll check my messages as I go along. Until then, I will make some other announcements. Monday is the kickoff of our fourth annual daily coverage of all of the WSOP events and all things Vegas poker. Not only will the family be here on Monday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Vegas time, but Jeff Platt will be joining us as well to give us an update on what's going on at the WSOP and maybe some new things that we can look forward to when we get into town. Also, added to those daily shows and weekly, Joey Gargiulo is going to join us on a daily basis and give us like a 10-15 minute coach's corner in hopes that all of us can learn something maybe to add to our arsenal for our poker games. So looking forward to his input. And Papa Poker will be joining us on Saturdays. And I told him to bring us any topic he wants to discuss or tell us about. So I'm looking forward to that. He's really creative. If you've never heard him in my space or in any podcasts, you're in for a treat. He definitely produces some great content. So, looking forward to those two gentlemen joining us on Wednesday of next week. Hopefully, Matt Savage and Maureen will be joining us, and we'll be discussing some rules in the TDA that some of us may get confused about, or maybe we don't think are being applied correctly, or maybe we don't even know what our rights are as a player. Like, do you have the right to call a TD? When? What if the, dealer's not calling the TD? Do you have to, your options? So we're going to discuss some of those rules that we often see get confused or misunderstood. If you have any of those in mind, please bring them. I should know by tomorrow if Matt's going to be able to join us. I had posted the flyer for it, but we noticed we had the wrong date on it. And even though I had 3 people proofread it, we still had the wrong date on it. So I'm double checking with Matt that he can still make it on May 27th instead of June 27th. But he's at finishing up a golf outing that he put on today. So as soon as he gets back to me, we will get that reposted for sure. We will definitely be discussing it on Wednesday. Hopefully, Matt can join us. If not, Maureen and I will definitely be leading the discussion. And I see that Tana has left, so maybe, let me see, he is, okay, give me a second, he's DMing me. Let me just quickly DM him back. You need to, let's try that again. I heard the click. There he is. Let's try it again. Are you there?
I am. What's up, Sherry?
Hey, how are ya?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Sometimes it gets tricky with the technology in spaces,
No, you're
but
fine.
we make it through. We make it through. And unfortunately, X has been making a lot of changes over the last year, I would say, with spaces, and
Uh-huh.
they've not been good changes thus far. We're hopeful that it's part of a bigger plan, but time will tell.
Okay.
Uh, so we will keep our fingers crossed. Are you familiar with spaces? I think you've been in some before, haven't you?
I have. I'll be honest with you. It's usually when I'm just like in between trips, I'll hop on when I'm jumping up to the next flight. So this is kind of my first time really truly interacting with one.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm going to give you a little tour around the room then, just so
Okay.
that you have more information for even the future. So, down in the bottom left is your microphone button, of course, and then there's a little wand there. And that little wand is a soundboard that we typically don't use while we're in the space because it gets crazy. Now, that doesn't mean sometimes somebody will throw one out there for us and it's kind of comical and, whatever. So that's your soundboard. Next to that is a little icon of 2 people. If you click on that, it's just showing you who's in the space and the roles they play, speaker, listener, so forth,
Okay.
co-host. Then to the right of that is a little heart, and those are emojis that you can put up. And you'll see our audience members will do that as the interview goes on, and they're letting us know what they think of what we're doing. So to the right of that is a little pair of scissors that somebody could clip of clip of the space to rip me apart tomorrow on a tweet. So there you go. No, I have to say that's never happened, and even if it did, so be it. In the purple pill, which we call what we call that in the bottom right corner, is the chat. And so
Okay.
you can click on that, and people are actually sending out retweeting the space so others will join us. And I appreciate that, D Man and Michelle, for sure. And people will put questions there or comments. So I try to check that from time to time as the space goes on. So sometimes people don't want to come up and talk to us, but they may have a question for you. So they'll put it in what we call the purple pill. And of
Hmm.
course, at the top right corner is where you leave the space. If you accidentally do that, just come right back in and we'll get you a speaker. And sometimes for me as the host, it shows as end. So if I hit that by mistake, it ends the space. If that happens and we're not done, just wait a few minutes and I'll start another space and just come back in. And that happens from time to time because that button is, readily available for me as your leave button is. So, any questions you may have, sir, about all that?
No, no, all sounds good. I'm excited for this and just happy to hang out with a couple people and chat about whatever you guys want to talk about.
Well, and we're happy to have you. And another thing we're going to talk about is people come and go, and a lot of people are listening from their PCs, and so they may not show up as being in the space, but they're actually on their PC listening. And so, even though we have a handful of people right now, Dibs and Miche and Barry and D Man and Hedo, definitely appreciate y'all joining us. But you will also see at the bottom from time to time, anonymous listeners will arrive. But the numbers that are happening right now are not what we see. So I just want to give you a little bit of that. And what I'll do, and what I do for my guests is after the space is over, sometimes hours after, I will send you a clip, or not a clip, but a screenshot of the analytics of how many listeners we had, so you can kind of get an idea of what spaces are about, especially if you're not familiar with how far we're reaching. And guess what? Sometimes we have 20 listeners, sometimes we have 50, sometimes we have a few hundred, and I get a lot of replays. And so I can have hundreds of replays, even I think the most replays I've had of a space is like 1,700 replays. And so it just really varies. But I love spaces because it is live action and people can talk to you right away. Uh-oh, we lost Tana. Let's see if we can get him back up here. Are you there?
Oh, yep, still here. Yeah, no, some. It looks like I got kicked off for a quick minute, but no, I think it sounded like you're saying that there's a lot of replays and a lot of
Right,
folks that will come
right.
back later on to listen to our chat.
Yeah, and you won't even know people. Like a lot of times when people are on their PCs, they don't even show up as listeners. So we have a lot of people listening that we can't even tell they're listening right now. So I'm just giving you some examples. Now, I will tell you, if you pick up a phone call, you're going to get kicked out of the space.
Fair enough.
Just an FYI. And which can also be annoying, right? But let's get started. Tell us how you got started playing poker. Hello.
Oh, there you are. I lost you for a quick minute.
That's okay. Tell us how you got started playing poker.
Oh gosh. I mean, there's so many ways. I think, honestly, for me as a poker player, it started with just card games. I grew up in the restaurant industry, so a lot of my time was spent washing dishes in the kitchen and bussing tables. And I always remember, late at night, there would be, the everybody in the kitchen would just be unwinding, and they'd break out a deck of cards, and we'd play all these weird Asian games, I should say. Like one of them was called like Thag, one's called Gauke. Like they're all very different formats of just like there's a pot in the middle, and you're just trying to basically beat a certain card, and either the pot grows or you owe money in the pot or you take money out of the pot. And that was like kind of the first instance of really just like card gambling, I should say, even though I
Right.
probably wasn't 21 at the time. But this is a family space, so I'm just gonna pretend I was 21. And I just remember falling in love with just the thrill of, obviously, that aspect of the math behind it, and like, I wouldn't say like counting cards at the time, but just kind of like understanding that basics of like, oh, this is what's come out so far. This means that I have a better chance to bet
Right.
higher so I can win more money. Which essentially led me into playing home games of, the 25 cent, 50 cent in high school. I do remember, and this is a fun story that I'm not sure if many people have heard, but I really got my first taste of tournament poker when I was in, I believe, ninth grade, 10th grade, something like that.
Okay.
And I was 15 at the time. And I had met a girl, and she was really into zombie movies.
Okay.
And our first date was watching a movie called 28 Days Later. And I remember, just obviously, you know, I, I don't know why I'm sugarcoating it, but I just remember getting to make out with her during this movie. Of course, very weird zombie movie, or very weird movie to make out with somebody. So in my head, in my 15-year-old brain, I was like, oh man, if I can get her to go to another zombie movie, I'd have a chance to make out with her again. So my logic led me to invite her to go see Dawn of the Dead, which had just come out into movie theaters. And unfortunately, Dawn of the Dead is a rated R movie. And so unbeknownst to me, I thought I could kind of like bluff my way into buying tickets. And I totally got into like the wrong line. I got into like the one ticket taker that was like no nonsense, like made sure I had to have like an ID. I had
Oh
to be
no.
17.
Oh no. The
So
plan was crashed.
the plan was crashed. I was like kind of a little devastated. But I was a sharp kid at the time, so like I remember going outside of the movie theater, and she wasn't 17 either at the time, so it was like it
Right.
was it was all a gamble. And I remember telling her, I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, like the tickets are sold out." And she was like, "No problem." I actually got invited to this party. Would you like to come? And then she ended up taking me to this kind of like I would say it was like a basement, and it was one of the older students from the high school was hosting a poker tournament because this was like during the money maker
Nice.
era. And everyone was very like excited watching it on ESPN. And it was my first kind of like seeing this, and it was like 3 or 4 tables. We're talking like the
Right.
6 foot Buffalo Bills fold out tables, nothing
That's pretty
fancy.
good for teenagers.
For sure. No, yeah, 100%. And I remember getting there, and there was like a cover charge, which also was part of the buy-in for the tournament. And like there's like soda pops, there was like movies playing, there's people hanging out.
Right.
So it was like a true like despite the fact that we were playing poker, everything else was very family friendly in the sense of, it was just like soda pop and popcorn and pizza. But I remember, I think it was like at the time it was like $10. And I think I was like $5 went to like the party, and then $5 went to the tournament, which
Right.
which is insane rake now that I look back at it. But whatever. So we ended up going, and I ended up actually finishing second place in that. And I think I ended up winning like, I don't know, like close to like $100,
Nice.
which is like 100 grand in like high school
Hell
years.
yeah. Hell
Um,
yeah.
so fell
If
in
it
love
makes
with
you
it. Yeah.
if it, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to tell you if it makes you feel any better, Tyler Phillips started playing poker when he was 12, and he had his first staking when he was 16
Oh wow.
on online, and he made it to the final table. So you are not alone, and do not be, there's no shame in that game. So after you played that home game, then did that create a monster?
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Uh-oh, we lost you. I bet his phone has been ringing. Are you there, buddy? Hello? Tana, are you there?
You might have to go down and come back up.
Yep. Let's try it again. Hey, Isaac.
Hello.
We'll give him a second. I have a feeling his phone's been ringing. We'll give him a second to come back. You having a good day, Isaac?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Definitely. How's your Friday going?
Going well. Yep, there you are.
Hey, there we go. All right.
Perfect. No, yeah, no, it definitely created a monster. I mean, I think, in anything that you do in life, right? You finish second place, you wanna get a taste of what it feels like to actually win. And
Right.
so, it was kind of the rabbit hole scenario where, I ended up obviously watching all of the episodes of the ESPN WSOP. I bought like the DVD box set. Started really like hosting home games, and really, trying to learn whatever like the information at the time was. And most of it, which is funny to think about back in the day, was, there wasn't shove charts, there wasn't, simulators, there wasn't,
Right.
GTO Wizard. it was whatever was played on TV. And the funny part is, like, whether it was like the World Poker Tour on the Travel Channel or ESPN for WSOP, it was, the only thing they ever showed was coolers. So for the longest time, all
That's
my
right.
education was I like just how the hands became so big and how big hands were played, and like how you just had to wait to get aces versus kings. And it was just like a really funny way I grew up learning how to play poker. To like where nowadays I talk to some of our younger ambassadors, and they talk about how they talk hand histories and run it through simulators and like the math behind it. And like to me, I'm just like laughing in my head, being like, oh man, you guys have it so good. Back in the day, we used to just stick money in the middle and hopefully we won and learn something from it.
But honestly, I preferred back in the day. I'm going to be honest with you. I think they're missing the boat. Like, it's sort of like baptism by fire. And to me, there's no better teacher than seat time and, just going through the grunt of it and through the ranks of it. Um, I don't know. I think you pick up on your intuitive part of poker by just living it. And.
Oh, for sure. No, I'm no doubt about it, and I can't tell you how much of a difference it is from when you talk to somebody who grew up in the online space and playing like 20 tables at a time to
Right.
somebody who grew up on the circuit or grew up on the tournament scene. And it is fascinating. And I think I've been blessed enough to be in this industry for a very long time and got to see a lot of generations kind of run through the industry in the sense of I truly did connect with a lot of the full live grinders, and then I
Right.
got to see the emergence of the online kids. And then obviously once the Black Friday happened, I saw kind of more of everyone trying to transition into being a live grinder. And then during COVID, I got to see all these guys that came in from Poker Bros or Poker King or whatever it was, all these apps. And then now you have your online sites again with like ACR and Club WT Gold and even WSP.com. It is fascinating because it's truly every person that's come in one of those avenues, there's like a distinct characteristic about them and how they play poker and how they view it. And it's really is there's so many generations in this industry right now. And I think that's why people love the World Series of Poker or just tournament poker in general, because you see all these types of styles emerge out of nowhere into each other.
And
And
it's very fascinating.
it is. It really is. It really, really
It's
is.
very fascinating. And I think anybody that's played a good amount of poker sees it and totally agrees with what you're saying for sure. I just want to remind everybody at 12 Eastern on Monday, we're going to have the kickoff show to our daily WSOP and all things Vegas poker. And Jeff Platt will definitely be joining us that day, as well as the fam. So definitely stop in to get all your 411 on the WSOP and all Vegas poker right here in the spaces. Okay. I wanted to ask you about your Run Good Player of the Year race, which is currently running from August of last year through June 1st. So just about a week, 10 days away, that season will close. Tell our listeners what your Player of the Year competition is. What's involved?
Yeah, no. So we track it a full year. So it starts mid-season. So usually our seasons will be twice a year, and we do our finale at Thunder Valley Casino in July, right after the World Series of Poker, and we'll have a fall season and a spring season. And during those two seasons that we combine, everyone who cashes an event, wins an event, ends up getting points through the Hendon Mob tracking system. And of course, the way we determine a lot of the play of the year is based on those points that Hendon Mob awards everyone for any cash they make at any tournament, but specifically just for Run Good. And one of the perks of it, I think all top five end up getting a seat to the Hendon Mob Mid Major Championship, which happens at Thunder Valley. They get hotel stay, they get a $500 travel stipend. The winner, the overall winner, gets a banner that travels with us for eternity for the tour. And then we also do a giant party and dinner ceremony for all of our previous Player of the Year winners as well. So we call it the Hall of Rings. It's almost
I
like
love that.
Yeah, it's almost like winning a like the PJ Masters. You get the green jacket, and
Right.
once you win it, you get to go to like the special dinner before like the big main event down in Augusta. So the very similar scenario where everyone gets a custom ring, and they get to come out. We celebrate them, and we do. There's like usually like a magic show. We do some award ceremonies, and then food and drink, and then after that,
Right.
we all go gamble.
I love it. I love the name of it, the Hall of Rings celebration. I just love the whole thing. I love it from start to finish. I love that you're mid-major, and you do so much, and it's evolved so much just in the few. I think I've started following you maybe, I don't know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I don't know. It was before COVID because I remember reaching out to you trying to find you a venue to to have a stop. But anyway, so it was before COVID, and you have just evolved your tour into so many different things every year. You're just adding things, and it's very impressive. And I love that you travel not only to the Midwest, but the South and as far as Thunder Valley, California. So kudos to you. You've really done a great job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words, and I will say this, and it's definitely I've been very lucky, and I've had some really good people help me along the way, and has built out a ton of stuff for us as we kind of evolved as a company. And I think the one thing that maybe not many listeners might know, but Run Good is a full fledged company in the sense that we have our flagship Run Good Poker Series. We have our clothing, which is Run Good gear. We also produce a ton of apparel for other poker companies and other casinos for like their promotional giveaways and the reward systems. We do our 813 in media, so we provide media support for not only our own events, but also other company events and in-house events for different properties around the country. So it really has been a wild ride, and there's been a lot of incredible people that have helped me get to where we are right now. But I think also, there's a big shout out to pretty much all the players that have been involved and really helped us not only grow from the ground floor, but grow from, just spreading the word, talking to their
Right.
poker room managers, talking to dealers. It's pretty wild to see kind of how much we've been able to accomplish. And the old story is, and I'm not sure if every listener knows, but it really did start back in 2012. I went out to the World Series of Poker, had a backpack full of shirts, didn't really know what I was doing. I was just hoping to spread the word about my company called Run Good. And ever since that moment, it's just been like a snowball effect where more people have seen the apparel, more people have played with us, more people have experienced or heard the story through like spaces or podcast or interviews. And that's kind of where we are now today, is that we've been able to go to Japan. We actually, funny story, and you guys get the first ones to hear it. We just signed a deal with Aruba, so we'll be down in the Caribbean next season as well. So
Nice.
so much is happening.
Nice. I love it. Okay, you unpacked so much. I got to catch up. Okay, first of all, I'm going to um, remind folks that we have the seventh Spaces meetup game at the Bellagio on June 26th at 2 p.m. Come all. But the reason I'm reminding everyone is because you said promo giveaway. So now I'm going to beg you for some Run Good series, any merch you want to send me so we can give it away and splash the pots at our meetup game. So we would love that for sure.
Yeah, count me in. I mean, we actually we just restocked about 2 weeks ago. So the floor is yours. Whatever you want, Sherry, we'll send it on over. We got hats, hoodies, shirts, you name it. We'll get some stuff to splash the pots for sure.
Perfect. Perfect. I appreciate that. And I'll DM you. I'll just have you ship it right to Vegas to a friend of mine.
Oh, perfect.
Um, and that just makes it so much easier for everybody. So I appreciate that. And of course, you're invited to that meetup game. We have lots of fun. They take great care of us at the Bellagio. We have some great splash the pots, and it's a 1-3 game unless a table wants to do something different. But it's really a social event, and it's so much fun. Like we really have so much fun. And that's what I want to bring back to poker is let's have fun. None of these shithead regs that, make the poker table a miserable place to be. Uh, okay, now let's go back to, okay, let me just throw something at you that our friend Dan Lowry put out in a tweet today as he was um, advertising this space for us this evening.
Mhm.
And he spoke about Japanese swimwear. So tell us about Japanese swimwear. You just were in Japan. Tell us about it.
Oh no, I'm sure he was alluding to me being the fish out there, and by all means, I do feel I've learned a lot about how to play poker in my time in the industry, but by no means have I truly gotten better than just a recreational player. And we went out to Japan and they put me in this televised game called the JOPT Stars Table, and they take some of the best poker players in the Southeast Asia region. We had like the number two South Korean poker player. We had the number one Japanese poker player. We had a JOPT representative. We had, I think, the number three Japan women's poker player. Um, and it was, I won't lie to you. I don't get intimidated too often because I've been playing poker for 20
Sure.
years, but I've never felt more out of place. They were doing like the intros and they're giving everybody all the hype up and like their accomplishments and the results, and then I was like the last to go. Clearly as like kind of like the moment, like the meat on the stick, like everyone's like salivating to try to bust this
Come
guy.
on.
So that was like my role. So I was my Japanese fishwear, or my Japanese swimwear, was I was the fish in this large pool of sharks, and it
I
was
love
good.
it.
Yeah, it was
Well,
fun.
I'm going to tell you, I did tune in for a short period of time and you were holding your own. So no shame in that game,
Thank
sir.
you, thank you. Yeah, no, it was fun. It was good, and I did play. I think I played a lot better than I had anticipated. And I do remember at one point I was like, it was maybe 2 hours into the game, and I could tell my attention span was kind of waning, and
Right.
I pull over one of the production assistants, and I'm like, I if there's any way possible, like, could you grab me just one of those alcoholic beverages from the snack bar? And she came back and she gave me one of these, like, I think they have it in a can. It's like whiskey sodas that are prepackaged, and
Right.
it was instant. It was like Popeye's spinach. Like all my fears went away, all my like hesitations to like make weird bluffs and moves. So I truly have to shout out. I think it was like Suntory whiskey that gave me a little extra lift to get past some of those crushers that were in the game with me.
A little liquid courage never hurt anybody.
Very true.
I just wanted to give a little shout out to your all time money list and the top five, because three of the five I've interviewed here in Spaces. And I just love to give credit where credit is due. Tyler Pattison has over 477,000. Dan Lowry has over 450,000. Blair Hinkle has 366,000. Brett Murray, and of course, these are all over those dollar amounts. Brett Murray over 272,000 and TJ Reed over 245,000. And those are the Run Good all time money list winners so far. So kudos to them.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And it's funny that you mentioned those names. Like all great people,
Yep.
all poker players you want to play with, which is one of the funny thing. Like everyone sometimes equates winning poker players to not being really fun to play with. And all those guys you listed are just absolute gems on the table, and not only are they talkative and they like to joke around, but obviously crushers in their own right as well.
Hell yes. I'm going to tell you, I had the opportunity to play with Tyler for the first time at one of Matt Stout's charity events back in February, and he was to my left. And I'm going to tell you, I'd never met him before. I knew of him, and I laughed, I promise you, for 4 hours straight. Like that table was so much fun. And a big part of it was because of him. And we just had like the cast of characters at our table, and it was amazing. So shout out to Matt Stout and his charity events. I highly recommend you attend them for sure. Okay, let's move on to um, the Run Good series teamed up with Poker News for the Power Stack leaderboard. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, no, it was an awesome promotion that we did, and shout out to Poker News for supporting it. We've had historically a midweek on every schedule event that is a multi-flight, and we really wanted to add some extra value to players and give them more incentive to come out and play with us, and they stepped up, and everyone who has played a Power Stack event is on a leaderboard, and whether you cash or you win the event, you get a certain amount of points, and the top 10 players will actually get a seat to our $1,200 Run Good $1 million main out in Thunder Valley this summer. And not only that, but they'll also get 2 night hotel stay at Thunder Valley with it.
Awesome.
So just extra money just getting thrown around to our player pool and the Run Good community. And I think one of the biggest things that it's always hard to really market or like tell everybody what we do, but if you ever get really entrenched in the Run Good world and you download our app and follow our socials, we really do try to make so much extra value for a mid-major company to just reward our players for just coming out and enjoying the product that we have, not only on like a community basis, but whether it's like apparel or tournament seats or trips
Right.
or experiences. We always like to truly give back to our player pool. And I know there's a lot of companies out there doing it, which I know the World Series of Poker had. They just started their. I think like they get a $5,000 seat to the Bahamas for every ring
Right.
winner, which is amazing. And it's fun to see companies step up like that. And I'm not gonna say that Run Good inspired that, but I would like to think that we've at least helped put that in some of the minds of our players and our own ambassadors that have now stepped up into different roles around the country. Which is kind of just a side note. I do have a small bone to pick with World Series of Poker. They hired 3 of like my best friends in poker, and like I'm sitting out here feeling like I'm the outcast, but
Uh-oh.
they hired TJ
Uh-oh.
Reed, they
Yep.
hired Jeff Platt, they
Yep.
hired Joe Stapleton.
Yep.
Absolutely love those guys. Like if I was going to really choose an entourage, I think there's even a picture on my profile of all of us standing at the NAPT one year. But
Yeah,
you
but
know,
I'm going to say in your defense, you have a job.
that's true. Yes,
You have a job.
yes,
Sorry.
yes. Very, very true. And it by no means would I ever trade it for the world, but it is one of those things, and it's nice. I'm super happy for them, but also very excited that the World
Sure.
Series of Poker is putting that kind of investment in a lot of really good people, a lot of bright minds, a lot of people that care about the players, and a lot of people that want to elevate the game itself. So the future for poker is incredibly bright, and I cannot ask for a better moment for all of us to be in it right now.
I could not agree with you more. There's lots of exciting things going on, not only with the WSOP and Run Good, but other areas of the world as well. Maureen Bloklinger is a very good friend of mine, and she's going to be hosting an event in Arobi. No, how do you say it? Um, Arobi. Is that how you say it?
Is it which continent?
In Africa,
Oh,
Arobi.
uh
Nairobi.
Nairobi. There we
Nairobi.
go.
Nairobi.
Yeah.
Thank you. I knew I was having a brain fart. I just couldn't figure it out. Yeah, she's going to be hosting an event there in a few weeks. Like, that's amazing. Um, and it's, there's events going on everywhere, and it's growing in places that even in Asia, right? There's a big push right now in the Asian countries to bring more poker. I think it's very cool and exciting, and I think a lot of stuff is going to be way different. 5 years from now, the world of poker is going to look a lot different than it does right now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's it's in a good shape, and not only that, we're getting online poker back in little bits and pieces. Um, so everything for the growth of poker is firing in all cylinders, and we
Right.
haven't seen this. And it's something that it's funny. There is an untalked about poker boom that I think has not really come to light yet. But like truly during COVID, there was a poker boom, underground with all the poker apps that arrived during that period,
Right.
and
Home games, online home
a
games.
lot of home games.
Yep.
And it's really spurred in a whole new generation, and now that generation has translated into the live game, and we're starting to see that. But also now, with the emergence of Club WPT Gold and WSP.com and BetMGM and all those other online sites that are now appearing, we're really growing at a fascinating rate for the not only the poker player pool, but just how it is spreading not only in the U.S. but like you said, internationally as well. And
Right.
there was a moment, I will say this, when I was in Japan as well, that was very fascinating. Is we just landed and we went to the venue just to scope everything out and just kind of see where everything was and meet some people. And there was just a jam packed section of of the tournament area, and like there was like a ton of adults standing around, and there was like a ton of media, and I was like so curious of like what's going on, like is this like the high roller, or is this the some sort of like mini main event that's like finishing up. And I go over
Right.
there, and there's kids that are like 9 years old or 12 years old playing in this poker tournament. And the rules of the game is that like you have your children, your kid play poker, and then they can use like a lifeline token to like ask you a question in certain spots. And it was just incredible
Oh,
because they
interesting.
described the game more as like a mental sport in Japan rather than like a gambling hobby. And it was such a cool thing to not only see these kids taking it incredibly serious and really picking up on the math and like the tactics and the strategy behind it. But also it just bodes incredibly well for the future of poker.
Oh, interesting. I'm just going to tell you, and my faithful listeners will tell you, I'm not about teaching kids how to play poker. I will teach kids how to play cards. And once they become of age, I will teach them how to play poker. But I think that anytime we're teaching a card game, whether it's Go Fish, uh, Canasta, whatever, bridge, spades, tank what is it, tonk, um it is good for our children's minds. They have to do math right away on the spot and make decisions and problem solve. Like playing cards is very important to develop those minds. I firmly believe that for sure. I'm going to first of all, I want to make mention, I see Michael down in the audience, and he knows I've thanked him personally, but I want to give him a little shout out because when I was going to go to Tunica to play one of your series, unbeknownst to me, he reached out to you guys because he wanted me to be a bounty for your ladies' event, and he made that happen for me. And after he made it, after he told me what he was doing, I was really taken back by his generosity and his thoughtfulness to even do that on my behalf. And so I appreciate you, Michael. And I know he's a faithful, run good player. So shout out to you, Michael.
No, I love that. That's yeah, he's definitely one of the good guys, and it always makes me smile when I get to see him and say hi to him at these tour stops. And just he's one of those people that just kind of goes out of their way, looking for nothing back. He just is excited to help out
Right.
and just make everyone's experience better.
100%. And he loves the Run Good series. He brags about it all the time, and I'm here for it for sure. And I just needed to give him a little shout out because I really appreciated his efforts. And I was really surprised and really touched by it as well. So appreciate you, Michael, for sure. I want to talk to you about two things. And I really don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but because my listeners have been around for all the interviews I did, on the two topics I'm going to bring up, I feel like it's it would be remiss of me not to do it. So is a little lengthy, so bear with me for just a minute as I read it.
Sure.
Over the last 18 months or so, there have been many allegations about collusion and cheating around some players in the Southeast that play at places like Harris Cherokee, Biloxi, and Tunica, to name a few, with, I might add, no proof produced by the accusers. I've interviewed many of the players who were named on social media posts on the topic. And now I thought I would give you the opportunity to give any comments you see fit or not on, you know, on the topic. So, do you have any comments on that?
It's a good topic actually, and it's something that I think it's not necessarily to take lightly, but I also do think that it's something to take with a grain of salt. Poker's a incredibly I want to say hard, but I would say it's very random. And if you're ever gonna like cheat at something, you probably want to pick something that's not as random. And so I think right, everyone's gonna have their theories and their thoughts and concerns, and by no means do I think they go unheard. And I think they're all
Right.
listened to, and there's some sense of okay, we're gonna keep an eye out for this, or we're gonna make sure that we just take a look at it. But there's a reason why a lot of poker players, you see them at a lot of final tables. You see them win a lot of rings. You see them going deep in a ton of tournaments, and it's not necessarily because they had some sort of system or some team. They're just actually really good poker players, and
And they're putting the volume in.
putting the volume in, and they're grinders, they're live grinders, they're playing tournament. And like I think that's one of the things that sometimes the public doesn't see as much is how many truly events they do play in. And
Right.
they don't necessarily get to see the bubbles, and they don't get to see the not making day two, and they don't get to see the even busting in the first level. And it's hard because no one's truly going to really be tracking somebody and seeing like all that um in a live setting. And there's so much more that we see in the public view that's what's like reported, because that's actually that's tangible, right? Like when you cash something,
Right.
we'll see that and it gets reported, and everything is on the up and up, right? Like if there's nobody like getting money that didn't cash, right? That's when I would be like, oh, those are some red flags, like what's going on there. But prize pools are accounted for. These are all casino regulated venues, and it's like one of those theories, and I might get some flack for this, but like, there's a thought at some point like we never really made it to the moon. And albeit like, okay, there's like
Right.
a ton of things and signs and messages and certain documents that you can string a theory along to say that we never went to the moon. But let's be kind of honest with ourselves here and think about how many people would have to truly be in on it to not
And keep the
keep.
secret for 50 years.
Exactly. No, 100%. And that's like the same thing with poker. Like not only that, but like multiple venues. I mean, like it's that's a tough ask. Like multiple venues, multiple dealers, multiple players. I mean, you're asking for if there's any truth to it, like holy crap, like that's insane. But like if that is the case, like go do that in blackjack, please, because you'll probably make more money than in poker. Um
Well, and for me, it always goes back to look. We all want our game safe and the integrity of the game safe, right? Everybody can agree on that. But if you're going to accuse, you better be coming with some proof. Like just saying it's happening is nothing. Like you have got to like give us some proof, come up with some proof, or come up. I don't know, but there it just can't be an allegation and then expect the whole poker world to pounce when we have no
yeah.
evidence. What's the evidence?
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. And I think right, that's kind of I want to say like what is happening now with social media, but I would say one thing is, everyone has their platforms and everyone has the right to their own opinions. And I think right,
Right.
like the only thing I would say as someone going into this and having a daughter going into this generation as well is, just fact check. just do a little digging. Don't take headlines for what they are. There's so much stuff online that you'll see a headline and you'll see some sort of image or video connected to it, and the first instance, our brain is always going to read the headline and think that that's the truth. Um, and that's probably, I wouldn't say the problem, but probably more of just like, well, one of the symptoms is that you really just can't trust as many things online anymore, just with like
Right.
AI and
Right.
just everybody.
And the other thing I would add to that is after you read it, give it 5 days before you do anything about
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
Because that story's going to change 100 times in 5 days, and then you're going to be a little closer to the truth.
For sure. No, and then anyone who plays poker, right? I think the biggest thing is like sample sizes, and I think, right, we've all been through the Mike Postel era. We've all been
Right.
through even I forget who else has had a bad rap in poker, but it's all about truly just understanding the facts and obviously come to your own conclusions and what you think, and by no means is anyone incorrect or wrong. It's just like take a breath, like you said, just take
Right.
a breath. You see something, dig a little bit into it, or wait a couple days and make sure that what you read is true before you truly cement that into your kind of like your memory log and believe it.
Exactly. Now, speaking about another, you spoke about Mike Post on another name. That was the second thing I was going to bring up is back in January, I had the opportunity to interview Maurice Hawkins.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on him filing bankruptcy and then recently adding Cody Stanford's $175 makeup that he owes Cody to that bankruptcy case?
It's tough, and I don't know
Crazy.
Maurice personally, and I know Cody, on very different levels, on a professional
Right,
level, on a personal level, and I will say, poker's hard enough, but also having kind of like investments in poker players and staking is a whole nother ballgame. And with Maurice Hawkins and everything I've heard about him, obviously not the most I would say friendly person to play a game with.
right,
He is good at poker, and we can't take that away from him. He has results, albeit maybe some of those results aren't achieved by the most best ways poker was designed to
right.
be played. But we can't discount that. But I think, right, in this game and the ways that it's shaped is, you're there's a lot of leaks that we all have, and I'm not going to sit here and be a saint. I play slots. I play the pit, um, and it sounds.
Buffalo. Go ahead.
That's right.
Sorry.
That's no, you're 100%. And I'm not going to discredit that to anyone. Is like, we all love to have fun, and we're all,
Right,
we play the game to have fun. But I also do know that sometimes it's in an environment where you get distracted, and I'm pretty sure, and at least my understanding is, despite how good of a poker player Maurice Hawkins is, he's not the best gambler. And
right,
there's leaks, not even in a casino, but even like sports betting, or other things, or just life in general. Bankroll management is an incredible important thing if you are truly going to take this game on as a living. And not everyone is built the same to handle it. Not everyone is built the same to understand the swings of it. But also, you add on the extra element where you are maybe getting staked, or you're selling action, um, and understanding how that process works is like, I owe this person this amount of money. I have to make sure that I do the correct paperwork, so that way the government doesn't think that I just won this money. And then that gets you in this whole weird setup of having to declare bankruptcy because you just don't have the money, or you owe it to somebody else. And not to get too in the weeds of
yeah,
all this,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would just say, like, there's a lot of factors that go into stuff like that, and it's unfortunate, and it sucks that it happens to somebody who is albeit a a face in the game. Um, but at the end of the day, right, like, it's just it could happen to anyone, and it just
Right. And
happened.
Cody's just trying to like be a businessman in the poker world and, stake people like, uh, and, has Maurice ruined that now? Like, is Cody going to be like, forget this? I'm not doing it anymore because I've just been stiff for 175,000. Like,
No,
no good
yeah.
deed goes unpunished, as they say.
For sure, and I think I think something too, right? As poker players, we do pick up on a lot of pattern recognition, and that's how we figure out different tells, or how to really understand our opponents. And I think in this specific case for Maurice, right? Once again, I don't know him personally, but
Right.
I would say, he does have a pattern of not being completely transparent with his backers or people that invest money into him.
Right.
And it's an unfortunate thing, but it's something that we can all clock and understand. And this happens, not just to people like Maurice. Like, I think we all saw the David Peters incident.
Right.
One of the most winningest poker players in tournament history, um, is now in debt with a lot of backers or people he sold action to, and it's an unfortunate thing. And I don't know the full story either, but I would say, right, like, the only thing you can help in those situations is, obviously hope that things turn around and things get squared away. And I'll have people that I've talked to that have staked other people or bought action, that 10 years later, 15 years later, are now just getting paid, which is great.
Right.
Which I think is, people truly are trying to pay their debt, and or what they owe or what they've borrowed. But I do know that sometimes it just takes a little bit longer, and it's not necessarily always their fault, but I don't know. That's probably
Well,
another
and
question to debate later.
right. And let's all face it. All of us know that people get addicted to gambling. And when that is happening to someone, they get themselves in the hole, dig themselves in deep before they realize they need help, right? And so we've seen people burn through money before. And like you said, even if it's taken 10 years to pay that money back, at least that person's trying to make it right. And when interviewed Maurice, I encouraged him. I was like, we want to root for you. Like, people want to root for you. You're a good poker player. At that time, I think he had 22 rings or 21 rings. I was like, people want to root for you because you are a good poker player, but they can't because this other nonsense is hanging over and it's really clouding your success because people are like, you owe people money and you're not paying them back when you could, and I honestly appreciated the conversation I had with him in the interview, because it definitely did not go the way I thought it was going to go, and I was pleasantly surprised. Took a lot of heat for that interview, like, why are you platforming him kind of heat, uh,
Mm.
as well as what a great interview. So I never will regret that interview for sure. But it was definitely an interesting interview, and the aftermath went on for 2 months after that interview. But we will also save that for another day. But we're going to move along, and before I do, I want to do two things. I forgot to mention and give praise to my tag team partner because we actually took fifth place at that Tunica stop. Michael and I did in that tag team. So thank you, tag team partner. That was a lot of fun. And next, I want to give my co host, Isaac, who I know he was trying to eat dinner earlier. So I think he's probably finished by now. So, Isaac, do you have any questions or comments for Tana?
Uh, questions? No comments. Dope story, like super dope story, and I could totally relate to the era too, because I think Moneymaker is when I first started watching poker, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, no, no, I feel that 100%. Besides that, hope I catch you at Sherry's meetup game. That'd be dope. And pleasure to hear the stories for sure.
Thank you, Isaac. I appreciate you. All right, let's move on. Tell us what your vision or goals are for the Run Goods tour.
that's a tough one because sometimes I wake up one day and I think we're gonna go in one direction, and the next day we're going in a completely different one. And I think that's one of the big things that we pride ourselves on a little bit is we're not a corporate company. We're not owned by MGM. We're not owned by Caesars or an online site.
Right.
It's just kind of us. It's just a group of poker players that really love the game and want to try to really mix and match different things and partner up with a lot of great companies out there and try to really do some creative stuff. And we're always trying to just make poker be viewed differently, right? Not less more of a very competitive only, you're only out there to win money game, and more of a community base where like you go there and everyone knows your name and everyone's
Right.
excited to see you. And and there's events out there that people can come together and truly just say, hey, this is my place, this is my people, this is my tribe. And that's where I
And
really
I'm
want
gonna
to see it. Yeah.
Well, and I'm going to tell you, the very first time I went to one of your stops, I want to say it was Cleveland.
Okay.
Pretty sure it was Cleveland. And that is exactly what the atmosphere was like. It was very like everybody knows everybody. Everybody was welcoming. There was like a joyous like air about the room that you don't get in a lot of tournament areas. Like it was noticeable. Your staff was hands on. Your staff was mingling. Your staff was having fun with the players, which I think is very important. Like there's a time to be a TD or an employee, but there's also a time to just be yourself and just have some giggles with your players. And so kudos. I mean, it's definitely that atmosphere.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and that's truly where I hope it continues. And I think right as we grow and we scale, that's the bigger worry for me is that do we lose that mom and pop feel? Do we lose that home game feel? And I hope we never do, but
Right.
you never know, right? As we continue to grow and I start to kind of age out, and there's probably at some point next generation is going to have to come in. Hopefully, the foundations that we've left for Run Good and the Run Good spirit and the poker that we want to kind of elevate sticks around. And yeah, I don't know. I guess that's my answer to 5 years from now or 10 years from now is we're still doing what we love, but more importantly, the way that we love to do it.
I love it. And honestly, it's all about the people, isn't it? It's who you hire. And you hire some good people and you surround yourself with some good ambassadors, and that legacy will live on forever.
No, 100%. Unless the World Series of Poker ends up hiring all of them, and then I'm left out to dry. But
Oh no! Along with your three amigos, they hire your whole staff, and then okay, you might have to get a new job then. Well, I just want to, I don't know if you realize it or not, but I have made a quilt for charity. I'm doing a fundraiser currently right now, and one of your t shirts is on that quilt. So I hope you check out the quilt so you can see that there is a Run Good t shirt on there. And I will be in Vegas at the women's event on the 24th and 25th of June. The WPA is going to have their table that is sits in the hallway between the cage and the Paris ballroom. And they have a table there for the Women's Poker Association. And they have agreed to allow me to bring the quilt there so I can set up on one of their tables and people can come by and autograph it. So if you're going to be around at that time, I would love for you or any of your staff members to stop by and autograph the Run Good quilt square. So,
yeah, no, I love
um,
that. That's awesome. And what is the charity you're raising funds for again?
sure, it is Poker Gives, which is based out of Vegas. It was started by Mike Sexton, Jan Fisher, Linda Johnson, and Lisa Tenner. And I will put a link. There's a QR code in the top of my Twitter account. There's a QR code that you can get to the link. We have a special link for the donations. Again, $10 gets you one raffle ticket. $25 gets you 5 raffle tickets for that autographed quilt. And can somebody put a picture of it in the purple pill? Maybe I could do it really quick. I'm always nervous to do something on my phone while I'm hosting that I'm going to kick us off. So if I crash the space by doing this, I'll start another space right away. Okay, you guys, I got one. If you look in the purple pill in about 10 seconds, you'll see a picture of the quilt, Tana.
Okay.
But I just wanted you to know that I did put one of the t-shirts that I got at that Cleveland stop on the quilt. So, and I was pleased to do it and happy to do it for sure. Welcome, John. How are you? Did you have any questions or comments for Tana?
Nothing specific other than the Run Good series is like the one series I actually try to play all the time anymore. As my daughter's gotten older, I haven't had as much poker time. But I do try to make time for the Run Good series because of everything you guys have said. Like it's an amazing place to play. So if you haven't played one, like absolutely do it. Um, on a personal note, the first time I played one, Tana did a internet Twitter contest thing, and I won a seat to their main event in Tulsa. So I like told my wife, I was like, "Well, we're taking the weekend off and going to Tulsa." And we played there, and it was awesome. Like we loved it so much. Like I love the photographers, I love everything about the atmosphere. So super glad you're here. No real questions other than it's not even a question. Like I keep trying to get to the St. Louis one and the Indiana ones and the Cincinnati ones, but like you guys always have it right in the middle of the my finals. I'm a teacher and I have finals all the time when you guys are in the Midwest. It sucks. So sorry I can't get to all of them. I would absolutely do it if I could.
No, I appreciate the kind words, John. That's awesome, and yeah, we'll have to figure out maybe just trying to line it up with spring break next time.
That would be like that's what I always hope. Like you guys are in St. Louis. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be close to spring break, but it's always like the week before or the week after. And I'm like, no. But yeah, like yeah, I would travel if it was like 10, 15 years ago, I'd travel all around with you guys. But my daughter's gotten older, so it's just harder to do. I used to play so much, but like that is a compliment to you guys that the ones I'm like sure to not miss is when I get a chance, I go to Run Good series. And I wear my Run Good hoodie to church and stuff because people think it's a God shirt instead of a Run Good shirt. So that's always funny. So anyway, I'm always repping you guys. I love the series, man.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
I love it. And John is a school teacher and he posted today about getting a little, I don't know, probably made out of rubber, a replica of Jesus from one of the students or something. And he was not having a good day until he got that. It kind of struck his funny bone. And I told him he was saved by the student because he was having a bad day and by Jesus for changing his attitude. So there you go, John. I got you on that one.
Yeah, it was really, I had to not to get too crazy. I had to not eat at all for like 12 hours. I had to go have blood work done. So like I was just not in the mood to deal with nonsense. And then so when they did the senior prank today, I was like, oh, not today, please not today. And then the little Jesus. Yeah, it was funny.
I love it. You were saved. You were saved on a bad day. And I hope the blood work comes out good for you, buddy, for sure. All right. I have another thing I wanted to talk about. Last year, I'm not going to name the player, although we talked about him and he's come in here for an interview about it. And we've talked about it a million times in these spaces over the last year. There was a player last year that bought into a $400 tournament 36
Oh
times
wow.
as a as a tour owner, what is the most times you saw a player rebuy into one of your tournaments?
Definitely not 36. I think that's probably definitely one of the record holders. I would say I've seen it maybe up to like seven. I think seven was maybe something that I've truly witnessed. Um, and like I don't know if that many people know about this, but when we go into like the higher buy-ins for some of our events, we'll do it as a single reentry. And just
Right.
I mean, it's not we know everyone's responsible, but at the same time, we just like to have some safeguards when we go into some of the higher buy-ins for people. But
Okay.
yeah, no,
Uh,
it's interesting to it's a hot topic where there's always that debate about should reentry be allowed or what?
Well, this is what I'm about to pick your brain about.
Sure.
Exactly that. Okay, so what is the average of rebuys you see at your tournaments?
I would say the average and the way we usually do the math for us, right, as like trying to understand how many tables we need and dealers and
Right.
where we're going to end up for like day two scenarios. We usually do it at like a 1.7 um, entry basis. And that's how many we can determine basically on unique entries into how many actual entries we'll end up having. Um, I don't know if that is truly accurate because every event has different buy-ins or different categories. Like obviously some of
Right.
our smaller events, which are like the 200 or 250 range, do have a higher rebuy um, count for uniques. But in our like kind of our middle of the road buy-ins in our main events, that's usually that 1.7 mark.
Okay. So, how many players do you like typically will rebuy more than 10 times during your tour and during a series of your tour?
Oh gosh. I mean, it's I'd be honest. I would say maybe like less than 5%, 10%. Um, there's not. I mean, there's definitely people, and I think here's the beauty of it too, right? And um, with Run Good, and I can't speak for any of the other tours out there,
Right.
but I would
Right.
say, to our player pool, it's not necessarily money isn't the leading factor for them to come play. It's
Right.
more about, wanting to continue the experience at the tables and competing and playing with people and obviously playing the game. But also like they do chase the ring, they chase the trinkets, they chase the prestige of the
Right.
events that we're doing. And that's really like we had a guy who plays in Council Bluffs, Iowa. He plays in Warren Buffett's home game, and they're playing for like absurd amount of money. But he'll
Right.
come and play like the $200 ambassador bounty just because he wants a chance at the ring. So I think, right, there is always going to be those outlier people that have that ridiculous bankroll that can fire at it as many times as they want. But I would say to that point, right, like, is that good for the game or bad for the game? I don't necessarily know, but I think, right, that's kind of what we want to create is that we want people of all walks of life and all sorts of bankrolls to basically come in and truly want something that they win, because that's how poker grows, right? Like nobody,
Right.
you run like a daily, and some guy wins $300 up top. Does that keep him really wanting to keep coming back and then getting more into the world of poker and more into the community? For me, I would say not so much, right? It's
Right.
more
Right.
about if that person who wants $300 got their name on a board in the casino, or they got a shout out on social media, or they got like a professional photo taken of them. All of a sudden, it feels more than just that prize money. It's more about accomplishing something, and not only accomplishing it, but having the evidence and the media to back it up and truly say like, hey, check out what I did this weekend, and telling your friends and your family. And that's how poker grows. Like, I mean, there's so many different theories of we do more poker ads, or we have online poker, or we um create some crazy promotion. But to me, it all stems from, you know, somebody wins a poker tournament and they get their brother-in-law like excited about it because they see the media behind it, or they
Right.
see the trophy behind it, and they're like, oh, this is so cool. Like I want to start competing. And
100%.
that's what I think will really help grow the game. And I know that kind of goes, it's a little bit of a tangent from the rebuy conversation, but um, that's my take on all of it.
Well, and for me, it's the experience has to be good for everybody. And, who wants to be at a table? I mean, there are some outliers that would say they would raise their hand, them, but really, who wants to be at a table with somebody that is rebuying and going all in every hand and being not being moved to another table, staying at that same table and being able to rebuy again at that table, going all in blind every hand. Like nobody, that is not good, in my opinion, for the game of poker. And I, and I'm gonna, I've been diving into it for the last year, and that's why I'm asking you some questions about it as a poker tour um, owner, because I do want to maybe do a little article or something on the topic. Because I think it's a discussion that's kind of lurking out there from time to time, but nobody really wants to tackle the topic because you have the big fish that nobody wants to rock their boat by not letting them do what they want to do. But, that's maybe the 5 or 10% you're talking about versus the 90 or 95% and what they want. And so I think there's got to be a balance there for everybody to enjoy it. Could you imagine being at a table like that and it was your first time there and you only have one buy in?
Oh, for
Like
sure. Yeah. I mean,
Mistown.
it's tough, and it's a tough line to draw because, as operators, we truly try to, let the game, play itself, right? We don't want to have
Right,
any outside influence or, we don't
right.
want to influence action. We don't want to influence, if these are the rules that were set in place, then like, we try to hold up to
Of
that level as
course.
best as possible. And I would say, right, like, yeah, you're gonna have those moments and you're gonna have those guys that are get really hammered and just keep firing away. I do think, that's rebuying. We've kind of I would say done away with that where now it's like re-entry only so that you do get randomly dispersed into the player pool.
Right.
And I think that's something that has helped alleviate kind of those situations. But it happens, and there's only two ways you can really view it, right? Like you can view it as, oh, this is gonna be a terrible experience, or two, like, this is an opportunity for me to pick up chips very easily. So
But to a new player, they are caught, they're a deer caught in headlights, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And it's unfortunate, and there's really not a good
And-
way around it, but
well, but I
yeah.
beg to differ with you. I
Okay.
beg to differ with you. And we're going to get to that in a minute, but I want to ask you one more question first.
Sure.
Okay, as a tour owner and knowing your customers and your players, what would be a fair number of to limit rebuys to?
Usually I would say like three buy-ins per flight is usually a good I guess set standard, I would say. It allows people that do travel in that, if they do get coolered very early to
Right.
rebuy, and it gives them still also that chance if they bust late that they can also still, rebuy and try to spin it up. Are the biggest thing that we always have to kind of like understand and fight with poker players and their bankrolls is like the money that they invest in traveling there and the hotel and stuff. It that's a big cost to them to also on top of like their entry fee.
Of
And we want
course.
to make sure that that is offset by the opportunities they get to play the game and really participate in it and take part in it all. So I think, right, that's where I would say is a good line, and I think that's what they do up in Thunder Valley. That's a pretty good set standard for poker. But yeah, I don't know. I'll be interesting. We have the TDA coming up this summer as well, so I know a
Right.
lot of these topics are going to be talked about, and there's probably going to be a lot more brighter minds than me to really discuss what is the best for those
Uh,
scenarios.
I'm going to tell you, I think you're hitting the nail right on the head. And I'm also going to tell you a few other things. The person that rebought in 36 times was Cody Stafford.
Oh
And
goodness.
after he did that, I interviewed him because I was like, I've got to see what the hell this like. What's making him tick? Why is he like? What's the conversation around it? Because of it, in spite of it, like. Why are we doing this? And quite honestly, he said to me in the interview, I will do it because they're allowing me to do it. He goes, and I asked him, what would you limit? What do you think the limit of rebuys should be? And I'm pretty sure he said 4 or 5. So he doesn't even think it should be unlimited, and he's the one that's doing it. And so I think that there is a magical number that most people would agree with. And even those folks that may even buy 6 or 8 or 10 frequently. I really do think there is a magical number that could be come up with, that we could all come up with and agree on. I don't know what that number is, but I think it can be fair to everyone. Maybe it's 6, maybe it's 4. I personally like the 3 rebuys per flight myself. Um, I don't think it should be unlimited though. That's just my personal thought. Because I think that, we're trying to be good stewards of the game, and we want people to come play. We want new players. Then we got to make sure that we're not doing things that turn them off the first time they appear. And, who would ever come back after being at a crazy table when that's going on? You know what I mean? Like, let's give them reasons to come back, not leave us.
No, for sure. And it's tough. It's you can't necessarily always create the best environment for someone to experience the game for the first time. And
Right.
the only thing I can say is, uh if that does occur, and obviously, I think, right, it's maybe even less up to the tour operators and more up to the players in itself that sees like a situation like that, and just encouraging, be like, hey, like, poker's not always like that. Or just taking a quick minute to, see someone who's playing the game for the first time. And, as someone who's been in this, industry for over a decade, I've seen a ton of new players come in and, not even know, about how to post blinds, or, when the action is on them, or what, they can do. And, it is a very scary place to be. But I would also say, you know, um, I would say, like, there is probably more times of a better experience nowadays after, people that, believe in growing the game of poker on a grassroots level than there ever has been before. And as be it, we do run into those situations. They are less than a blue moon nowadays.
And I'm so happy to hear that. And I'm going to tell you, I do believe that the players that have been around will try to nurture that new person at the table, right? Whether it has to do with somebody rebuying a million times, or just, it could be anything, right? Somebody that's drunk, or the dealer is not doing a good job, or whatever's going on that's a negative. I'm pretty sure most of the seasoned players are going to try to mentor that new player through the situation. And I'm sure, like you, have witnessed that, and I appreciate that. And it kind of makes me proud when something like that is happening at a table.
No, for sure, yeah. And you gotta love it. And nowadays everyone is truly, you see it on Twitter, or you see it on Facebook a lot, and you see people calling out bad behaviors a lot more nowadays, which I think
Yes.
is a good thing. And um, I don't know where what that would be like in the, the future, or 5 years from now. But hopefully that mentality stays the same, and people are more vocal when they see bad things.
I could not agree more. And before we go to dibs, I want to see if Exec Deck or D Man or Isaac can come back up, or can grab a microphone, because I want you guys to tell us in a minute what's going on with Green Visor Gang. Dibs, welcome to the panel. Do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, first of all, I'm super stoked to be here. This is the first time I've been able to tune into your space, and I'm like blown away at your guest and the quality. You're such a great host, Sherry. And second, I can't believe Tana is taking his time to come to this space and just educate us and talk about the Run Good series. It's super cool. Thanks, Tana, for making time. I'm super inspired as a poker player to be able to just sit down and listen to somebody who's running a big tour like this. I play tournament poker and all that stuff, and um, just hearing some of the things you were talking about, it made me think of something that I don't think a lot of these tournament series are doing, and you guys are kind of right on the edge of it, and you're the first person that I've heard alluding to it, which is like measuring the player's experience, not just measuring how much we can get in terms of buy-ins, how big we can make tournaments, how great we can, make the marketing. But yeah, so on that thought, I just kind of wanted to ask you, Tana, like, how are you guys measuring players' experiences and thinking about growing the Run Good tournament series in general? And before you answer, I heard you say this 1.7 rebuy re-entry metric, and I thought that was a really cool piece of information to think about. I started thinking, well, what is like the Pareto efficient equilibrium between maximum buy-in and user experience meeting at the perfect intersection, and you are making sure that people come back to these tournaments every year, and you convert somebody like me who currently is playing WSOPs, and I all of a sudden only want to play Run Good series because it's got the best experience possible.
Well, thank you. I mean, you got me blushing over here, and I appreciate you coming in also to listen to our spaces tonight. And it's that number is a unique thing, and I don't truly know what the best possible way to, or what the best possible number is for that experience. To me, right, I think it would differ a lot on like kind of what the buy-ins are and the player, right? If $200 might seem a lot more to somebody than a $400 or an $800. And there's no shame in it. It's just kind of where they're at in their lives, or their poker playing, or their gambling aptitude. um but I would say, right, that's one of the big things that we always try to really build out for the series, is that we do have price points that range from that 200, 400, 600, all the way up to our 1100s or 2500s. That way no one's felt left out. But also, more importantly, you can come in and truly experience, like you said, the player experience, at any price point. And I think for that, and thank you for asking about that, because we truly try to treat every price point the same way as it would be from a $200 event to a $10,000 event. We have our live reporting, we have our professional photographers, we have our ambassadors, we have our event coordinators, we have our merchandise store, we have sometimes we'll do t-shirt giveaways, or we'll do bar meetups, or slot pulls, or all sorts of things, not only just on the felt but off the felt. And we don't expect everyone to partake in everything that we do, but we also do try to give enough where, if you don't relate to this, you'll relate to that. Or if that's not of your interest, this might be of your interest. And, sometimes we'll have guys that come in and, they'll talk about something to one of our ambassadors, and the ambassadors will pass it along to our group chats. And all of a sudden we have a pickleball meetup the next day, or we'll have a frisbee golf meetup the following day. Just because we have players that come in that realize that poker isn't the only thing that we really connect on. We might really connect on other activities that we like to do together, and that's what really creates a really strong and foundational community. Is that you know we all, as we get older, right, it's harder to find new friends and new acquaintances outside of school, right? Once we graduate, it kind of dwindles down a little bit more to our workplace, or just our local communities. And I think poker has been a great outlet and a great tool for a lot of people to meet people, and not only for playing poker, but for just like lifelong friends in general, and different interests. And it's really incredible to see so many people have come in on our tour, that have connected and still are connected, just because they came in and played a $200 event.
Pardon me for jumping in real quick, but that's super awesome to hear that you guys are building community on top of what's happening at the poker table. That's definitely something, as somebody getting back into tournament poker, when I arrive and I see all these new faces, and you recognize a few of them, you're mostly just intimidated, and you're just hoping that you're prepared and all this stuff. So to have that sort of community building where you can break the ice and meet people outside of those intimidating all-in situations is really cool. Anyways, thank you guys so much for your time. I'm running to my 3-5 Friday night game and walking into the casino as I speak, but it was a real treat to be here, and I can't wait to listen to the rest of this. Thank you so much, Sherry and Tana.
Oh, Dibs, thank you so much. It's nice to meet you, buddy. And you can go on my YouTube channel, Sherry Pluskota 9212, and listen to the old episodes, the interviews, you name it. It's there, buddy. So appreciate you and good luck in that game tonight. Take it down, as they say. John, go ahead. Your hand is up, buddy.
Yeah, I wanted to interject real quick because I think it's a topic that hits on what Tana's speaking about. Whose idea was it to bring in the professional photographers for all levels of events? Because I think that's one of the things that truly makes every player feel like they're a star when they come to run good. And I think that it really has amazing for the game because like I've used my profile from the run good, the photo that they took. I've used it at school a couple times, and the kids just think it's crazy and they love it. And I've used it as profile pictures, and like it really does make everybody feel important. Just
Okay. Go ahead, Todd, and then I'm going to make a comment about it.
Sure. No. It's funny. We've always actually believed that ever since the first event we held back in 2014. And it's funny to say this is, you know, I was actually the original photographer back in the day. I got a Rebel T 1.2 or something, I forget, a Canon camera for Christmas. And in my head, I think back in 2014, a lot of stuff was on like Facebook and like Facebook albums. And I just remembering, outside of, the flip phones and eventually the iPhones and stuff like that, that's how you got your profile pictures. And I was just thinking in my head, like, for poker, there's not really anyone out there, and I don't think even tours did this outside of like the final table or even the winner's photo of really taking like professional photography to the extent of like a DSLR camera at the time. And I was just like I was like, well, other people are doing this, like other competitions are doing this, like why isn't poker doing it? And like I can tell you, I think the biggest thing that held it back for so long was because cameras were such a tricky thing to have in casinos because of all the other games and the slot
Yes.
machines and blackjack,
Yes.
that getting approval for it was a nightmare. But I think eventually people started to realize how incredible a picture can change everyone's outlook on the game of poker or just gambling in general. And people started seeing our photos and using them as their profile pictures, more of to share their interests and their hobbies and what they love to do, to the people around them, that actually gave it more legitimacy than like, just saying like, oh, John's going to go gamble $200 at the casino. It's more about, oh, John's about to go compete in this poker tournament for $200. And, that small change is from like a professional photo, is that, you go from you just being a gambler to you going to compete and try to win at something you love. And
Well,
Mhm.
oh, go ahead.
No, that's, I mean, that's kind of the whole story is just that we want to give more tools and and assets, I think, to for people to truly showcase that poker is more than just gambling to everyone around them.
Hell yeah. And I'm just going to make a side note here because you guys did something, and quite honestly, I kind of patted myself on the back for it, because when I joined some of the ladies groups back in 2019, I would take pictures of ladies playing poker and put it up on certain ladies organizational websites. And I'm not going to go into all the details, but somebody wanted me to hand over my photos for them to create a website out of my photos. And I took great homage to that. I was not a happy camper because I have always given my photography away for free my entire life. When we used to print prints, you take your roll of film to the drugstore and get the prints made. if my family members had a birthday, communion, wedding, I took photographs, had them, made into prints and gave them to whoever was celebrating that day. I just love for people to have those memories. Okay. It's just a hobby for me. I'm decent at it. I'm not a professional at it. And once that person said that to me about my photographs, I was like, oh, hell no. So I started my own website, Peaches Poker Picks, and I continue to give away my photographs. And people loved them, like Tana said, for their profile pictures. And so I did no editing, nothing. Whatever the lighting was, that's what you got. Because why? I'm trying to play poker, but I'll take your picture real quick. And so I would just take thousands of pictures, post them up there. If you want them, take it. If not, just scroll by them. And I'm happy to say that you guys give your photos away now. And I love that folks can get them for free, Tana. Kudos to you.
Well, thank you. And if anyone does ever come play a Run Good event, we do have an app called 813 Media, and you can actually download the app and take a selfie of yourself, and it will search for all the photos you've ever played at Run Good, and give them to you at your fingertips. So you don't have to go through the events and try to find your photo. It will just facial recognize your face and produce all of the photos we've ever taken of you.
And can't people request for someone to come take their photograph?
They can. Yep, they can request, and we'll swing by with our photographer, and it'll get uploaded into the database just as well.
And the photos, I love photographs. I'm just going to tell you, I've not seen a photograph I don't like. And their photographs are, chef's kiss, and I'm all about it. So I appreciate that effort for sure. And Isaac, I know you came back up because I want give us some details about what's going on with the Green Visor gang. You got 1 minute or less, sir. Go ahead, Isaac. Uh-oh. Did we lose him? That would be just of spaces for sure after he's waited to take his turn. Isaac, I'm going to boot you down. Sometimes we have to boot them down from speakers so they can come back up. Let's try it again. And if D-Man or Exec Deck, here he's trying to request. I'm sorry, y'all. That's just the glitches of spaces sometimes. Are you there, Isaac? Hello, Isaac.
Just barely.
I know that's right. Okay, give us a little 1 minute spiel about the Green Visor gang, buddy. Uh-oh.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you still hear me? Am I still here?
Yes, we can hear. No, we can hear
Okay.
you, bud.
All right. Green Visor Gang. We are basically an online poker club that does our best to create community in like a home game sense. We have been doing this adjacent to Web3 for 3 years now. We mostly play in our Discord and we play on Club GG. I really, really dig everything that Tana's been saying because it's what we aspire to do. It's what we have been doing in an online sense, and all I can say is goals, man. I hope one day we can partner on something because really dope. I love how you
What do
guys
you
focus
guys
on
have going
community.
on right now?
Right now, we're in phase 7, which is our 7th season of poker. And aside from that, we have our upcoming mint for our first ever PFP project. The date has not been announced yet, but we're real close to announcing that.
Awesome.
And besides that, we're about to be in Vegas for our 3rd year. We'll be out there for 10 days, doing everything we can to be as degenerate as possible and throw around the chips as best we can. So, yeah, that's about the quickest spiel I can give about GVG
Perfect.
because I have zero confidence in my signal. Thank you. Thank you.
And much love to you, Isaac. Thank you for trying so hard to give us that information because I know it could be such a pain in the neck sometime when there's tech issues and spaces. So, Tana, is there anything else you want to tell us about that we haven't covered yet?
No, I'm just excited I got the opportunity to hang out for a little bit and chat about poker, and it's always refreshing to have these conversations because I think it's important that somebody's helping lead this charge to just get a lot of voices that don't necessarily get the platform just to reach different people, and it's really cool what you're doing, Sherry, here, and obviously, please keep doing what you're doing, and keep growing what you're building.
Well, I appreciate your kind words. And I love the fact that we can bring people from anywhere in the world together in this space, and they can have the opportunity to talk to you, a tour owner, somebody that's in the business, somebody that enjoys poker and does so much for the world of poker. I love the concept. I'm all about it. I'm all in on it. I think it is a tool that is very useful for the world of poker because it's live and it's now. It's not a week from now. So when things are happening now, we can discuss it. And I think those can be the most authentic conversations we could ever have, no matter what the topic is. So I appreciate those kind words because it kind of hits everything I believe in and I'm trying to accomplish right on the nail, right on the head of the nail. So thank you so much. I'd like to play a little bit of rapid fire with you before I let you off the hook so you can enjoy the rest of your Friday. Are you game?
Sure, absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Comedic movies or horror movies?
Oh, definitely comedic.
After the stories of you making out in the horror movies, I thought, oh, he may just pick the horror movies. Uh, Prime rib or T-bone?
Ooh, I would go T-bone.
Do the dishes or do the cooking?
I actually like doing both. I'm a Renaissance guy, so I do a little bit of everything.
I like it. Suit or a t-shirt and jeans?
T-shirt and jeans.
Beach or the mountains?
I am actually a mountain guy.
Gummy bears or Sour Patch Kids?
Definitely Sour Patch Kids.
Texting or a phone call?
Phone call. I'm an old school guy.
I like it. I like it. Well, I appreciate your time. I'm going to see if John has anything else he'd like to add, and then I'm going to let you off the hook. John, you got anything else, buddy?
Nothing new. Just one more time, I'd like to say, as somebody who's played like a bunch of different series and they all offer something different, Run Good is by far the most enjoyable atmosphere I've been in, and I've been in poker since like 2002. So I just want to tell you, I appreciate what you're doing. Keep running the way you're doing it because I love it, man. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that.
And we're going to let you off the hook, Tana. Thank you for joining us. Please, we're going to start our daily WSOP and All Vegas Poker on Monday at noon Eastern Time, and it's going to run 53 days in a row. So feel free to stop in anytime if you have something you'd like to tell us you got going on, promote, or just want to come and give us an update on what you're doing. Open an invitation. Stop by anytime. We would love to have you. We may have lost him.
Oh, there we are. Sorry. Yep.
Oh, that's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. I appreciate you being here. And to my audience members, I love you. I appreciate you on a Friday night tuning in or Friday afternoon or whatever time it is where you're at in the world. I appreciate you. And for those that'll listen in the future, I appreciate you too. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry. Take care.
Thank you, buddy.